Does gender matter? How would your life be different if you had been born the opposite sex? Biology tells us that sex category is determined by the number of chromosomes that you're born with, but is that what causes us to behave differently in interaction, or is something else going on? Bandura's social cognitive theory of gender development and differentiation explains that while sex is biological, gender is socially constructed, meaning that as children we are socialized to be masculine or feminine. And this socialization comes to us from a variety of places. Our language, our cultural backgrounds, and other social experiences teach us what behavior looks like according to gender roles. And it is through this socialization and interaction that we come to understand and identify ourselves as boys and girls. Social research also tells us that gender is actually the #1 category by which we categorize groups of people. And when we do this, we use what are called cognitive shortcuts, more commonly known as stereotypes, to process information. When we do this, we rely unconsciously or implicitly on what it is that we think we know about groups of people. So what is it that we think we know? Research continues to find that people hold stereotypes about the attributes of men and women that fall under one of two categories. Some examples of this are: people continue to believe that men are assertive, that they're dominant, that they're decisive, that they're aggressive. These are considered agentic characteristics, consistent with behavior expected to be true of men. People also believe that men are slightly more capable than women at certain kinds of tasks. This includes leadership, mathematics, engineering, business acumen. These are considered male domains. Women, on the other hand, are thought to be emotional, soft-spoken, polite, concerned for the welfare of others. These are considered communal characteristics, consistent with behavior expected to be true of women. Women are also thought to be better suited for certain kinds of tasks, to include childcare, nursing, teaching. These are considered female domains. So we can see that not only are the conceptions of men and women different, but they are also often oppositional. The difficulty is that communal characteristics are not valued in the workplace. And the workplace is a place where many of us spend the majority of our day. The process of defining gender roles in society has resulted in many gendered organizations where traits most associated with success are considered masculine. Some believe that jobs actually incur a gendered persona. Consider the list of professions. Do you think of a man or a woman when you look at each of these roles? Organizations are not gender-neutral systems. Instead, gender rubs off on the jobs that people do. Jobs, in turn, have a gender character that rubs off on the people who do them. Of interest is the gender marking of certain kinds of jobs, like male nurse or female doctor. It shows us that there's some kind of an exception to the rule. So what happens when a woman becomes conjoined with an occupational role that is inconsistent with her socially accepted gender role? Research tells us that observing a woman in a traditionally male role places expectations based on gender in conflict with expectations based on a job. And this leads to a lowered assessment of that woman both personally and professionally. Which takes us back to the original question: does gender matter? Well, I guess it does for some people. I've been talking to you now for about 4 minutes, and during that time you've made some decisions about me. If I asked you to guess what I do for a living, you probably wouldn't say this. Wait for it. It's difficult to see me in this picture, not just because their faces are covered, but because you've been conditioned to think about me in a certain way. But your thoughts are stereotypes. Even this picture is a stereotype. And the problem with stereotypes is not that they are necessarily untrue, it's that they're incomplete. I am a police officer. That's a talk for another day. But I'm many, many other things. And that's the problem with a single story. Said differently, show a group of people as one thing over and over and over again. And eventually, that is what they become. As you go out into the world today and tomorrow and the next day, and you observe the environment around you, pay attention to the images that are being fed to you and the variety of places that information is coming to you, and ask yourself, what am I looking at?